There are more gyms in America than ever before, but we're more overweight than we've ever been. Lots of people have theories as to why, but we're about to introduce you to a man who says he's figured it out. Greg Glassman is the unlikely creator of the biggest fitness phenomenon in the world right now, called CrossFit. It's a workout program that's unpredictable, uncompromising, and raw, a lot like the man who created it. Glassman likes to say he runs CrossFit more like a biker gang than a business, but business is booming. In just 15 years, the King of CrossFit has created the largest gym chain in history and turned fitness into a spectator sport.
It's still a battle here in this heat.
Last summer, the finals of the CrossFit Games were broadcast on ESPN. 45,000 people showed up to watch contestants who look like superheroes heave, jump, and lift until a champion was crowned.
Rich Froning is the fittest man in history.
If this is the body that defines a new kind of fitness,
I think we'll be all right.
the brain that dreamt it all up belongs to Greg Glassman. Well before CrossFit was a competition, he designed it as a new way to work out. He says it can transform anyone, and he's not just talking about bulging biceps and six-pack abs.
I'll deliver you to your genetic potential.
Your genetic potential.
Yeah, how do
It
you
sounds
like
like
that?
you're creating a robot or something.
Look at her. She was meant to look like that. That's what nature would have carved from her a million years ago, or she'd have been eaten.
Greg Glassman hardly looks like an exercise guru. There's no hint of ripped muscle underneath his untucked shirt, but he is widely considered the most powerful man in fitness today. Glassman is the architect of CrossFit, a workout program that mixes elements of weightlifting, calisthenics, and gymnastics. The classes take place in what CrossFitters call a box, a stripped-down, willfully ugly space.
Elbows, 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 up, there we go.
The exercises range from simple to sadistic. It made Greg Glassman, a college dropout, a multimillionaire.
You know, you didn't invent weightlifting.
Nope.
You didn't invent calisthenics.
Nope.
You didn't invent gymnastics.
Nope.
So what'd you do?
I invented that doing lateral raises and curls while eating pretzels is dumb. That's what I invented.
He says for decades, gym owners have ignored the importance of diet and been all too happy to watch their members fall into a trance on the treadmill.
Do you think people think they're getting a workout and aren't getting a workout?
Well, I mean, look, you get sweaty and you come home tired. I can appreciate that. But many people are much closer to doing nothing than they perhaps realize.
Is everything up till now been wrong in the fitness industry?
Yes. Yeah. As far as I can see.
Be patient.
CrossFit classes usually don't take more than an hour. Athletes compete against each other and the clock.
5, good job.
To keep their energy up, they're encouraged to follow something called a paleo diet, heavy on meat and vegetables, food fit for a caveman.
I have heard you say that CrossFit prepares athletes for, quote, the unknown and the unforeseen. It sounds like you're getting ready to go to war.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, for getting ready for war, getting ready for earthquake, getting ready for mugging, getting ready for the horrible news that you have leukemia. What awaits us all is challenge, that's for sure.
CrossFit, he says, is creating a new super breed. And although some of their athletes appear to be carved out of marble, he says the focus isn't big muscles, it's simple, functional movements like squatting and lifting, whether you're 25 or 75.
Would I use deadlifts in both cases? Absolutely. Squatting in both cases? Absolutely.
You'd have a 75-year-old doing deadlifts?
Uh-huh. Yeah. To say no is to say that if you drop your pen on the ground, you're not going to pick it up. It's a deadlift. It's picking something off the ground. It does not require a physician's okay. If your physician doesn't think you should deadlift, you need to get a new doctor is what you need.
Glassman started to teach people to lift, jump, and sprint long before CrossFit became a household name. He had polio as a child and used gymnastics to regain his strength. In high school, a bad dismount left him with a permanent limp. He became a personal trainer and started experimenting with some of the exercises that would become the backbone of his creation. His workouts were loud, disruptive, and gym owners were not impressed.
How many gyms did you get tossed out of?
About 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
7.
You don't like being told what to do?
Oh, I don't mind being told what to do. I just won't do it. Just say anything you want.
He opened his own gym in Santa Cruz in 2001. Today, there are 12,000 CrossFit boxes around the world, each one defiantly barren. The company is private, but estimated to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and Greg Glassman owns 100% of it. He has no board of directors and says he never had a business plan.
This is awesome. Can I have a picture with you?
I would love that.
Yeah.
But recently found himself at Harvard Business School.
Do you like metrics? You like money? We're the fastest growing large chain on earth. We have broken all records.
Where he was invited to share the secrets behind CrossFit's meteoric growth.
I'm not trying to grow a business. I'm doing the right things for the right people for the right reasons. Good. Nice.
One reason CrossFit's grown so fast is because just about anyone who wants to open a box can, after paying a $3,000 yearly fee and passing a 2-day seminar. It's how the company makes most of its money.
2 days to take a course, then I can open a gym?
Amazing, huh?
I mean, to me, is that enough?
Well, here was the alternative. Here's what it used to be. All you had to have was the money. And you don't even have to take a test. That's where every other chain came from. Someone just launched them.
And unlike most gym chains, Glassman, a die-hard libertarian, relinquishes nearly all control over his affiliates. They can open a box next door to another box if they want. It's probably not surprising. Glassman believes the strongest one will survive.
You don't have an iron fist on them on how they do this. They can do it any way they want to do it.
This isn't Kentucky Fried Chicken or, yeah, it's CrossFit.
You let them do what they want to do.
I do.
Although he occasionally fires up the company plane, grabs the family dog, and drops in on an affiliate unannounced.
So you're not going in there looking for trouble?
Not at all. But if I saw someone pulling with their arms or a rounded back, I think it's inevitable that I would say something.
At the company's media office in the Silicon Valley, they publish a different workout of the day every day and more information about CrossFit than you could read in a lifetime.
And what does it cost for people to access the stuff that you're putting online?
There is no cost.
How does that
It's
make
free.
sense?
Yeah, it didn't until we did it, you know? And the more video we give away, the more money we make.
CrossFitters created a huge virtual community, posting videos of workouts and wipeouts and spreading Glassman's gospel around the world, in Africa, Siberia, and on the front lines of Afghanistan and Iraq. Whether soldiers or soccer moms, the evangelical enthusiasm of Glassman's disciples has led to criticism.
When you hear people describe CrossFit as a cult, what do you say?
I don't mind that. What if someone led a cult and they didn't know they were? I mean, that would be messed up, right? So I started trying to think what makes us a cult or what would define a cult. One is recruiting, and I ain't recruiting anybody. I don't, you know, people call me up, hey, I was thinking about joining CrossFit. Well, then call back when you've decided to, you know?
So the doors are open, you're not recruiting.
Yeah, we're not recruiting, we're not barring the doors. I mean, it really is an open house.
Glassman says he spends most of his time defending the CrossFit brand with an iron fist.
If you don't defend it, you won't have a brand for long. We are in shark-infested waters, and I've got shark-repellent attorneys.
How many attorneys do you have working for you now?
Dozens. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere, like freaking leprechauns.
The most exercised muscle at CrossFit may be this man, their general counsel. He oversees a legal staff of 12, but Glassman has hired another 80 outside law firms to defend its reputation and its trademark. They've gone after a company selling bogus CrossFit-branded jump ropes, taken on gyms in Puerto Rico and Germany who use their name without permission, and are suing the publishers of a study that allegedly contained made-up information about CrossFit's safety record.
I love my lawyers. I love my lawyers.
Very few people say that.
I know, it's weird.
So how many lawsuits have you been involved in?
30 or 40? More? 50? Yeah.
Have you lost any?
No, won every single one of them.
You like the fight?
I do. Yeah.
His most tenacious fight revolves around headlines that CrossFit could be dangerous or worse, deadly. Some journalists have questioned how the regimen might be bad for one's back, shoulders, or even kidneys. Because it's such a new phenomenon, there aren't many studies about the overall safety of CrossFit. The few that exist found it to be about as safe as gymnastics or weightlifting and less likely to cause an injury than running. Greg Glassman is so sure it's safe, the father of 6 allowed his future 7th child to be part of this class.
To that person who's sitting in their living room saying, this all sounds interesting, but I've heard things and I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, and stay in your chair where you're sure to get hurt, and you'll become one of the 300,000 people that will die next year from sitting in their chair doing nothing.
Another reason Glassman's been so good at getting people out of their chairs is the success of the CrossFit Games. This year, 273,000 people around the world competed for a chance to be featured in the finals. It is a spectacle, part Olympic Games, part Hunger Games, and the winner is crowned the fittest man or woman on Earth. A title you'll be shocked to learn Greg Glassman had his lawyers trademark. He told us no one in the world is in better shape than the game's top athletes.
You'd bet the mortgage, not the rent on it.
I'd bet everything on it. You're going to come and best the game's athletes out of nowhere, the same way you're going to walk out here on the street and put up together a Stanley Cup challenge out of morons walking by. It ain't going to happen.
CrossFit Games title within reach.
The games are sponsored by Reebok. CrossFit is credited with re-energizing the Reebok brand and boosting sales.
Fitness apparel should be technical apparel.
But 5 years into a 10-year deal that may be CrossFit's most important commercial partnership, Glassman has developed some strong opinions about Reebok's owners, the German company Adidas, and he wasn't shy about sharing them on 60 Minutes.
I'd like to see Reebok sold.
To who?
Someone young, fresh, excited, and willing to enter into the modern era of things.
That's a pretty bold thing.
Isn't it?
For you to say.
Yeah.
Does everyone ever say to you, Greg, like, you shouldn't say that?
Yeah. I've had people tell me, boy, he's stark raving mad, but he sure is sincere, you know? Like, okay, good. You know I believe it. You know I believe it.
For hundreds of years, fully grown adults and very young children have dreamed about flying. People have made wings out of feathers and wood, jumped off buildings and cliffs in order to soar like a bird, and a lot of them have died trying. Now, a small group of extreme sportsmen wearing specially made wingsuits have come about as close to flying as you can get outside the confines of an airplane, at least for a minute or two. Some people call them Birdmen, and we first learned about them on the internet. The pictures we saw were so spectacular, we decided to assemble some of the sport's top athletes and mount a small expedition with the latest high-definition cameras to one of the most beautiful places on Earth to see what this is all about.
3, 2, 1, on the base.
There he goes.
He's gonna come around the corner. There he is. Oh, he's high. Nice.
You can hear him already.
Yeah.
What?
You feel that?
J.T. Holmes is an American, a professional skier from Lake Tahoe.
Man, I've got like little goosebumps from that speed, eh?
Julian Boole is a South African living in France, a skydiver and aerial photographer par excellence. And that's Tom Erik Hyman, one of our Norwegian hosts darting across the valley.
I just love feeling that speed and watching stuff go by.
And how fast are you going?
That was probably about 140, 150 mile an hour flyby.
That sound is amazing to me.
Did you feel it?
Yeah.
It's so cool to watch. I can just...
If you want to do this, there is no better time or place than the Romsdal Valley of Norway during the summer solstice, a paradise of fjords and farms several hundred miles northwest of Oslo. Myth has it that Norway's trolls live here amidst the waterfalls and some of the tallest, sheerest cliffs in Europe. Norwegians have been parachuting off them for decades. Birdmen take the extreme sport to new extremes, dropping off a cliff and free-falling until the air inflates the wings of their nylon suits and propels them forward.
The dive creates the speed, and you use that speed to glide out and, fly flatter.
Gravity makes it impossible for them to go up or even maintain altitude. For every 2 feet JT glides forward, he drops a foot. But the suit allows him to stay aloft 3 times longer than a skydiver.
Within a few seconds, of course, that suit, that wind is going to fill up that suit, it's going to pressurize, and you're going to have total control.
How long have you been doing this?
5 years.
What's special about the wingsuits?
It's just like so many children dream. It's flying.
You feel like you're flying?
Well, I am flying. So yes, I do very much feel like I'm flying.
Like a bird?
Yeah, just like a bird that can't flap his wings and go up. The birds probably laugh at us. They're probably just like, look at these guys.
They have long grown bored of simply flying over the valleys. In order to maximize the sensation of speed, they need a visual reference point, so they fly just a few feet from the rock face.
Sometimes you're flying so close to these cliffs, it looks like you could reach out and touch them. And you're going 100 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour?
Yeah.
There's not much margin for error there.
It feels entirely in control, and the speed actually increases your stability, and it increases your safety margin, because with the speed that we're flying with, you can create lift. You can pop up and fly away at any time. There's margin there. Ready, set, go!
How quickly can you turn?
I don't even know how to turn. You just do it. You just look where you want to go, and you just go there, and then you just feel it and go. You're like, yeah, let's go fast. This feels good. The faster I go, the more control I have, and you just charge with it.
To the extent that JT and the others ever get nervous, it usually comes at a time that many people might consider one of the most mundane legs of the trip, when the end is in sight.
What is the most dangerous part of this?
The most important thing is to open that parachute, Just that moment when you reach back and throw the pilot chute out there, which extracts your parachute, that's the most critical thing. I mean, if you don't do that, you're not going to live through it.
But getting down the mountain, which only takes a minute or so, is just part of the extreme sport. The much longer and more arduous part involves scaling the mountains you're going to jump off in the first place.
How long does it take you to get up to the ledge where you go from?
This one's about an hour and a half, but some of them are up to 4, 5, 6 hours for the big mountains around here.
There are no chairlifts, which explains why JT, Julian, and Tom Eric are members of such a small and exclusive club. You have to be a skilled climber, an accomplished skydiver, and an experienced outdoorsman to even attempt to do this.
It's that first view looking over the edge that really hits you. You're like, whoa, cool. This is an amazing spot to fly.
Money can't buy you this experience. You've got to have the passion to do your time. If you haven't done the time, you just can't get there. You can't arrive with like $10,000 and buy wingsuit experience.
What do you have to know? What kind of skills do you have to be able to do what you do?
You need to just have some mountain sense. How long am I going to be? What if something goes wrong? How long is it going to be until I can get back? If the weather comes in, you need to know yourself. How much water do I need? Can I realistically walk up this mountain for 2 hours? Or is that not within my physical capabilities? Yesterday I jumped from...
It all looks spontaneous, but the Birdmen put together a detailed plan every time they jump.
Still some fog coming in.
And they almost always have help from the locals, who serve as spotters, keeping them posted of weather conditions and potential problems on the ground. A Birdman died here just last spring.
You ever get spooked up there?
I have, yeah. On a couple of occasions, I've had no real good reason for not jumping, but I just walked back down.
We're trying to get people to understand that we're not crazy. We just want to have fun like everybody else. We want to share nature like everyone else. We just have our own special way of doing it.
If you die base jumping, it is your own fault. It is your own mistakes that makes that happen.
Do you think about it? I mean, when you're up there on the top of the mountain, you're getting ready to go, and you all shake hands and say,
Yeah.
Do you think about the possibility?
Yeah, but we don't think like, oh, no, I might not see you again. I better
say goodbye. Give me a kiss. Let's do this.
That never enters your mind. No. Come on.
If you do crash when you're flying your wingsuit, you're gonna die. Nobody lives through that. You're just going too fast.
JT was just 15 when his dad took him helicopter skiing. Today, he's one of the best in the world at it, making a living endorsing products and making movies for top-of-the-line production companies like MSP Films.
You're a professional skier.
Yeah. Yeah, great job.
I mean, in your day job, there are any number of ways you could kill yourself in your day job. And for fun, you take on something that's maybe even more dangerous?
Yeah, I do dangerous things.
He and his friend Shane McConkey were the first to ski off mountains wearing their wingsuits. Then they jettisoned their skis so they could fly down the mountain.
You lost a good friend recently.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Shane.
Uh-huh.
He was supposed to be with us here.
Yeah, he was. We planned this trip to meet up with you guys. Then I took off to Europe. That was when he died.
You were with him?
Yep.
Shane crashed in Italy because he was unable to release his ski bindings quickly enough so he could begin flying.
How did it affect you?
It saddened me deeply. You know, I miss my friend.
Did it make you think about quitting?
Yeah.
But you did?
No. No, I didn't quit. At least I haven't quit yet.
Near the end of our stay, we chartered a helicopter for the biggest adventure of our visit. We were going to the top of one of the most famous mountains in Norway, Romsdalshorn. When JT and the others climb up here, they don't even use ropes. The chopper saved us time and energy. It was a dizzying flight, not for the faint-hearted. From the air, our landing pad looked tiny but solid, a flat piece of rock. But when we touched down, it turned out to be an unstable patchwork of stone.
You guys said that this was like the size of 2 football fields. This is like the size of an NBA basketball court.
For a summit, it's huge. You could throw a party up here for New Year's Eve.
I'm busy New Year's Eve.
It was early summer, but we were a mile above the valley floor and the temperature was just above freezing.
Kind of have to battle just getting in these things, though. You know? You kind of feel like you're climbing into a tight cockpit.
They had a pre-flight checklist, making sure their zippers were closed, parachutes well packed, and there were no rips in their wingsuits. It was time to go to what they call the exit point.
So you're having fun?
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
I wish I could say the same thing. I'm not crazy about heights.
By his count, JT has jumped off mountains like this 125 times, but there is a bit of the first time every time he does it.
Okay. I feel, you know, kind of butterflies in my stomach, and you just feel like a flow of adrenaline.
Tom Erik and his Norwegian friend Espen were the first to take the plunge.
Hey. See ya.
So are you psyched right now?
Yeah.
That's the way
for
to describe
sure.
it. Pumped.
Yeah.
You're pumped.
Yeah, I'm fired up. I want to go. Can I go?
You can go.
We decided not to follow JT down the last few steps to the ledge where he was going to jump. And we were glad we didn't. He then collected himself and took a couple of deep breaths.
You ever have trouble pulling the trigger?
Okay, we're ready. No, I don't. But, you know, you do sometimes have trouble finding that calm moment. You know, and you're just like, okay, well, this is about as calm as I'm going to get this time. Okay, ready, set, go. You know, you step off and it's like you're an astronaut, you're just weightless, and then you start to fall and you get the wind, and that's when you're gaining speed, and I really enjoy that part. You know, air is air and gravity is gravity. You know, you're carving through just beautiful stuff there.
For some of these pictures, Julian was our cameraman, and at one point he and JT were flying so close together in such perfect formation that there was time for a Birdman high five half a mile up at 140 miles an hour. It was an exhilarating moment, but it wasn't the last. Over the next few days, they kept on jumping, saving the best for last.
Ready, set, go! And you're just flying along the wall on your right. And at that point, I don't really know what's going on. Is Julian there or not? I assume he is because he's so good. But on this jump, I can see our shadows, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he's right there. Sick, he's right there.
Every jump is like a little mini adventure. These are experiences that I only want to share with people that I love and respect.
It's a goodie.
Thanks.
Yeah, buddy, good trip.
Good trip.
We've
done it again.
Yeah.
Do you think anybody else had much fun as us today in the entire world?
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I don't think it's possible. No.
Rodeo might just be America's original pastime. It started with an event called Saddle Bronc in the Old West. Today, there's one name that dominates Saddle Bronc, the Wrights. There are 9 members of the Wright family riding the circuit, and they rank among the best in the world. In a sport with plenty of wannabe cowboys, as you'll see and hear, the Wrights are the real deal, vestiges of the American frontier. Their lifestyle has prepared them for what's been called one of the last blue-collar sports in America. In Saddle Bronc, there are no Tom Brady salaries, and there are regular injuries that would make running backs flinch. And yet none of that discourages the Wrights. Each generation seems to be better than the last. Tonight, we'll introduce you to America's first family of rodeo, competing for glory on horseback the Wright way.
Anybody heard of the Wrights in the bronc riding?
You may not have heard of the Wrights before.
They are a Utah sensation.
But at rodeos big and small across the country, like this one in Utah, that last name is as famous as Manning or Montana. And there are just about enough Wrights to field their own football team.
It is the right night at the rodeo.
9 professional cowboys with 5 world titles among them. There's Ryder Wright.
Ryder, come on, Ryder.
The youngest world champion of all time, and at 21, currently sitting in first place.
Hey, we've been watching all of the Wrights.
His uncle is this guy.
All right.
Spencer Wright, another world champion.
That was incredible.
Yeah, he did awesome.
And in a league of his own, Cody Wright, the one who started the family dynasty 20 years ago.
And street smart.
At 42, Cody's a 2-time world champion and one of the best bronc riders ever. What's that feel like?
Adrenaline, a little bit of fear, and you got to learn how to control it. You know, otherwise, you know, it'd go to heck pretty quick.
Here's Stetson Wright.
In Saddle Bronc, the goal is to hang on with style for 8 seconds.
Yeah! Wow!
To a horse specially bred to buck you off. Can you explain to us what's going on in that 8 seconds?
Let's go to Cody Wright.
Yeah, go on! You've got a rein you hang on to. You need a lift on it because that's what holds you down in the saddle. When they jump and kick, you know, they're stretched out, their feet are off the ground. You want to be stretched out, you know, your free arms straight back and your feet set as high in the neck as you can get them.
It's like one hell of a rocking horse.
It can be the roughest ride in the world if you're out of time, or it can be the smoothest ride in the world.
So are you kind of dancing with the horse?
I like to think you are. I dance a lot better with a horse than I do with my wife. I ain't got no rhythm.
The Wrights and the Broncos they're randomly paired with are partners in the rodeo. Both have to perform well to get a good score from the judges. When it's go time, the Wrights, the sons and brothers, crowd around the chute like a NASCAR pit crew, helping each other saddle up.
This is a team sport for you guys.
I think so. I love it. There's nobody I'd rather see do better, but don't think that I ain't trying to beat them.
We all show up to the rodeo wanting to win first, but we're going to help each other do it, too.
That's Jake Wright, Cody's younger brother, and one of his toughest competitors. And yes, there are more brothers. Jake's twin, Jesse, a brother-in-law, Coburn Bradshaw, plus Alex, Calvin, Stuart, and Spencer Wright.
We're like a big support group. You know, there's 10 of the best bronc riders right in the world right here. We all get together and practice.
Everybody focused?
And I know that's why we all have been so successful at what we do.
All that practice has propelled them to the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas. It's the Cowboy Super Bowl.
Spencer Wright, he's got a great ride going.
And Team Wright has made it every year for the last decade and a half. Cody has won the champion's gold buckle twice.
He showed us that we could do it with a little hard work and a lot of try.
If he would have never even pursued rodeo, I wonder what the rest of us would even be doing.
What they're doing comes at a steep cost. While these horses are rarely injured, that can't be said for the Wrights. They all have the same orthopedic surgeon on speed dial.
Can I see a show of hands of how many of you have been injured? So all of you have been injured. And 2 of you came into this interview on crutches.
3 of us.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3.
Tell me some of the injuries.
I think the worst was my back, when I broke my back in Omaha.
Fractured my skull.
I broke my nose about 10 times.
I broke all the sinuses on this right side of my face one time and had a brain bleed. As far as injuries goes, I think I'm one of the lucky ones sitting here.
Do you hear yourself? Brain bleed? And you call that lucky?
Hurts a lot less than heartache, Bill.
But heartache won't land you in the hospital. The Wright boys are well aware every ride could be their last. Stuart came close.
I said, let's go, and horse reared up and hit my head, kind of knocked me a little senseless, and I fell off into the arena. He just jumped straight up and fell completely on me. I thought it broke my back because I just felt my ribs pop as he landed on me. And I was like, oh my gosh.
As awful as that may sound, the Wrights say the hardest part of the job is being away from home.
What did they tell Alex last time he went to the doctor?
They're on the road around 250 days a year, clocking 100,000 miles in these, what they call rodeo motels.
This weekend you're going to Harridan and Fort Pierre or vice versa.
Where they eat, sleep, and drive from Canada to the Mexican border, chasing 8-second dreams.
Do you sometimes feel like you're on the road more times than you're on a horse?
You drive 22, 24 hours from home to there, and we're there an hour and turn around and drive them back.
We drive for a living and ride bucking horses for fun.
When they aren't on the road, home is southern Utah. They mostly grew up in Milford, a no-stoplight town where the Wrights are the main attraction. They're a family of 13 kids, kept in line by their parents, Bill and Evelyn.
That's a huge family.
It's a good-sized family. Kids are kind of Moorish, you know. The more you get, the more you want.
She trained the older ones to help the younger ones.
I had to organize them.
But she...
I'm like, I cannot do this on my own, or else it's going to be bad. Because Mom's going to grow bear hair, and you're not going to like it.
All right, quit it.
The Wright kids were cowboys playing cowboys and were natural ranch hands. It kept them out of Evelyn's hair and out of trouble. The 7 boys and 6 girls knew how to ride a horse before they could pedal a bike. Some of the girls rodeoed too, but never went pro.
They learned how to break horses early, how to ride and tame horses and train them. I think you have to be a cowboy before you can be a rodeo cowboy.
The ranch was their training ground. The family has been working this land at the edge of Zion National Park for more than a century and a half.
I'm 5 generations, Cody's 6, and Rusty's 7, and his boy is 8 generations.
Bill, do you think the Wright family will be ranching this land in another 150 years?
Well, I hope so. I really do. When you work as hard on something as I have at this, you don't want to see it just go away.
What keeps their way of life going are rituals like this. Branding Day. Bill and his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren gather every year to round up, vaccinate, and brand their cattle. The hard work brings them together. It defines them on the ranch and in the arena.
Dad's the first one to preach that you get out of it what you put into it, and if he seen you putting something into it, they were both behind you, and it didn't matter if they had to sell the farm, they was gonna get you there.
They sacrifice a lot for you to reach your dream.
I think so.
This cowboy gets emotional because he knows exactly how much his parents gave up when he was starting out in a family where money was tight.
We went to Gillette, Wyoming to the national finals, and I had like 10 kids. He comes back from the expo, and he said, I bought Cody a saddle. I'm like, what? It was only $1,100. I'm like, what? You did what? I started crying. I'm like, he's like, we gotta help him. We gotta support him. He's gonna lose his dream if we don't. And then, what do you say to that?
Well, thanks for coming.
These days, Cody may be living his dream, but it hasn't exactly made him rich, considering cowboys have to foot the bill for just about everything.
I really like rodeos.
If you're rodeoing full-time and going to, 100 rodeos, you've got to make over 60 or 70,000 just to break even.
So you could go through all this and go to a rodeo and walk away with nothing.
Yeah, you could walk away in the red.
Less than nothing.
Less than nothing.
So surely there are easier ways to make a living.
You'd think so. But better? I don't know.
Still, the sport has taken a toll on Cody's body and his family.
Stellar.
He's spending less time in the arena now and more time on the ranch.
Reach back with
and in the practice pen, leading the next generation to carry on the Wright legacy. Sons Ryder, Rusty, Stetson, who are already rising stars, and the youngest, Statler. We were there the day Cody coached his 16-year-old on his very first bronc ride.
Statler, right there, lift hard and take a hold of him.
Well, I was like super nervous until I got in there, and then I just pretty much forgot about everything else but what my dad's taught me.
Go on, spur, go on! Keep going, buddy.
That ride, how'd that feel?
I hurt my butt, actually a lot. But as soon as I hit the ground, I wanted to do it again.
One Hall of Famer told us that you guys have the potential to be the best there ever was.
I think we could do it, but really that's kind of humbling. Humbling, and it lights a fire.
A fire, they say, to win those gold buckles just like their dad, Cody.
I wanted a gold buckle, but to ride every horse the best I could was always what did it for me. Sure, I want money. Who don't? You need it to go along, but I always just wanted to ride broncs. It was striving to make that perfect ride, and the feeling that you feel when you're in time with a horse that's trying to get you off their back as hard as they can.
Have you ever had a perfect ride?
No, I've never had a perfect ride. When I make that perfect ride, I'm going to be done.